Hello.
Hello?
Hello, you're right.
Yeah, sound. How have you guys been?
All right, man. How are you?
Yeah, mate, I've been alright. Just fucking like uni started again. It's just like
How's that going?
shit. Yeah, as well. Yeah, so just sort of like adjusting to that, really. Just trying to keep busy. But yeah,
Yeah, I guess we'll kick it off. So today we're talking to you about your new single, Different Skin, featuring Jacob Holroyd, that's coming out on the 23rd of November. First of all, I want to say
yeah.
it's an absolutely beautiful track.
Thank
Personally,
you.
one of my favourites.
Thanks.
And I'm really glad that we got to hear it before the release. Where did the inspiration come for this track?
It's got a bit of a mad one, this song, because like I had the line like we're all different skin in the same sun in my head since about like 2018. Like it's really weird because it's like before I'd even moved to Birmingham and stuff. I was like working in a co-op like back home. I'd sort of given up on music like temporarily, and then like I just had this like thing in my head. Like I remember, I literally will never forget it. I was at work and I was stacking some quavers while I was doing. And then basically it just came into my head, and I literally ran to my mate Alice, and I was just like, I just sang it to her, and she was just like, "Yeah, cool." Like, and then she was, and I was like, "I'm gonna use that as a song." And then like 2 years later, I'm like, I should do something with that. And then literally as soon as lockdown started, I was sort of like back home, and then I remembered that thing in my head again. Like I sort of always had it and like dismissed it, and then yeah, it was like before the whole George Floyd thing or any of that happened. I just had this idea of like this lyric in my head, and then literally as soon as we went to lockdown, it was like the first thing. Well, the first like original song that I wrote. Yeah, and that's basically where it came from. And then sort of like as the year went on, I was sort of more like I really should release this. Like it seems more and more like something people want to hear. But I never really thought it would have like any sort of like I don't know. I feel like now it has a lot. It says a lot more than it did when I first wrote it. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a very powerful song with all of the events that's going on in the world at the moment, because obviously the Black Lives Matter movement has become a lot
yeah,
more kind of into the mainstream over the past couple of months. So it's definitely going to be something I think will draw a lot of attention to you as an
yeah,
artist over
yeah,
like the next like couple of months of it being released, because obviously such a horrible situation of what's going on in the world.
yeah. It's sort of like yeah. Like I was really like. I really hope the message gets across the right way with the song. Like I want it to sort of like be optimistic. It like in regards to like how like race, like the idea of like racism can be resolved, and like these things can happen, and I'm trying to come back at it from like an optimistic angle, sort of give people a bit of hope about the situation, because I feel like there's not a lot at the moment, and like I've struggled with racism a lot in the past, and I just sort of thought that like I don't like there are lots of amazing songs about racism at the moment, but I just kind of want to feel less sad when I listen to them. So I wanted to write something that was like optimistic and like hopeful about where the situation could go with everything.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously, with we've seen you collaborate in the past with the likes of people like Ladama, and obviously this song is also a collaboration. Is this something that you really genuinely enjoy? And would you mind telling us a little bit about how these opportunities and bridges are actually formed?
Yeah, thank you so much for your kind words on the remix as well. I really love that what you guys wrote about it. Basically the thing with Adama was like me and Chris are really good friends. Like he's coming around here later to record a song. Like we're just really good friends. So it was sort of like we were just like at the Dark Horse one night. We were like, well, let's just do a remix. And then like I think one of the things I think it happens a lot in hip hop, which is amazing, like collaborations and stuff like that. And in the dance world, it happens a lot. But I just don't like. I just don't see it happening a lot with. Sorry, my housemate's me. I don't see it happening a lot with guitar bands, and I think it's like. I think it's cool. I think like. I don't really want to be seen as one of like an artist that is just like about their collaborations. Like I want to have my own stuff, but like I don't think like shying away from the idea. Don't know if you can hear that. Can you hear that in the background?
A little bit, but it's not like you're speaking over it, so it's fine.
Okay. I'm just going to tell my housemates that I'm doing an interview right now, just so they know. Just give me like 2
Okay,
seconds.
that's fine.
Yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, collaborations. Yeah, I just think it should be done more, and I'm a fan of it. Like, I like doing it. I think they're very valuable experiences, and they're fun as well. Like, it's fun to make music with other people, and like you learn a lot from it.
Yeah, so we spoke to another band the other week called Springs, and we were talking to them about like making music through lockdown and stuff. And it kind of became noticeable to us how hard it is to kind of make a track as a band within the middle of lockdown and through a pandemic. What was it like working with completely different artists through this? Because I can imagine there are some senses where it could be quite easy, but there are some senses where it could be quite hard.
It wasn't like as easy as I thought it would be, especially with the remix, because there's a lot of like backwards and forward stuff. But I was really lucky about with Jacob was that we're both from Reading, and we've been mates for like years. We've been like really good friends for a very long time. So and then we were literally just like, I think we're at the pub. I'm always at the pub when these things happen. And then well, it actually originally started as like throughout lockdown, I was basically trying to like make a sort of like choir to sing at the end of different skins. You can hear some voices that come in like towards the end. Basically, the idea was before like to sort of have that in the BIM studio, but we couldn't do that. So I was messaging loads of people over lockdown if they could send over parts like themselves and like just them singing over it, and I would like mash the whole thing together myself. And it was quite difficult because a lot of people were sort of not really in the right place to actually be doing a lot of music stuff. Like, it was pretty, like, I knew for a lot of people it was quite tough, and I felt like I was just annoying everyone a little bit, being like, "Hi, do you want to do this thing?" And then like when I like lockdown sort of easing out and like July time, and then like all the bars and stuff opened, I was back home in Reading. And then I was speaking to Jacob about it, and I was like, "Yeah, if you just wanted to send over like the quiet part." And then as soon as I said that, I was like, "Dude, why don't you just like sing on the song?" Like, because I don't know, I just thought like, it's not the kind of thing. I think it's the kind of thing where I want to be seen as like it's an opinion that was made sort of like it's not just me like preaching. It's like more people type thing. Like, I think like the whole idea of like the collective community and in the song is really cool. I basically, and then he just came around to mine one day, and we were in the sort of same social bubble at the time when that was the thing. We were like, well, we just like sort of like keep distant from each other, and I had the space for my back garden, so he came around and recorded it, and it was like, with Jacob, it was probably like the easiest out of all of them, and like working with them as well is like insane. Like, he's just like talent-wise and like professionalism-wise, he's like one of the best people I know.
I mean, it's really nice to kind of see loads like you working with like different artists at the moment, because I feel like now more than ever we need to kind of support each other, especially in the music industry with everything that's obviously being said by the government at the moment. I think it is really nice to kind of see you kind of bringing together different artists, bringing together this kind of little community and supporting each other and having each other's backs. Definitely, it's something that I think a lot more artists need to do at the moment, but obviously it is difficult because of recording. Some people can't get into studios, and some people just don't have access to the facilities at home.
Yeah, for sure, it's like super difficult at the moment. Like, I feel like one of my tutors, Johnny, is an absolute legend. I look up to him loads. He said, like, I remember, like, there was a time where I wanted to stop producing and just sort of go to studios and stuff because I didn't really think it was, like, up to standard. And he was like, carry on doing that. Just carry on doing your producing, and you'll be so thankful that you did one day. And then, like, as soon as we went into lockdown, I was like, I feel really, like, sort of lucky that I could still put out and record music when other people, like, aren't less able to do so. So, yeah, no, I know how difficult it has been for some people to sort of like to keep things going, and it's affected so many of my friends' mental health and like throughout the period, just because they just feel like sort of disregarded and like a bit sort of like powerless to like actually be able to move forward in their careers. And it's like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like, we all felt the same thing, but it was just kind of like tough to see it, I guess.
Yeah, 100%.
So just kind of moving more towards the earlier stages of the song actually being put together. about the writing process. So would you say that you're more of a like quote unquote napkin writer, like where you just kind of scribble little bits here and there down, or do you the kind of person that just needs to sit down for like an extended period of time and really put all of your time and effort into writing that one thing?
I'd very much say I'm a napkin writer. I'm not gonna lie. It sort of comes from anywhere, and then what I've been trying to do is sort of separate my writing from my mixing. So I write the song, and that normally comes quite quickly. The only one that really hasn't was this one, I guess. But yeah, or it's definitely been over the longest period of time. But I'm normally the kind of person where the smallest thing, I'll have a voice note and I'll turn that into something, and then that goes to something, and then that goes to something, and that goes to something, and then I'll put it on my laptop, and then that's a whole other world because I've got the song and I'm add in all the I call it the seasoning, with all producing and stuff. Add all the seasoning, and that takes ages. That comes from anywhere as well. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm set. I have a set way of writing. I like getting in my own little zone. I like I don't know, having my setup where I can just lock the door away and I can sort of feel comfortable to say and do what I want to do. But yeah, I wouldn't really. I would say I'm more just sort of take anything from anywhere and put it together type of thing. I love recording at uni or writing at uni in the rooms there because I sort of feel pressured by the time period there. Whereas at home it's just gonna do what you want really.
How long would you say it kind of takes you to kind of write a track? Once you've got kind of the whole basis of these things that you've got from here and there, how long would it take you? Because obviously you mix it yourself, so.
It depends really. So I'm doing this songwriting challenge at the moment. It's 30 songs in 30 days, and then so for that the songs are coming out sometimes in 15 minutes, and then it's the song comes out really quickly, but then it's sort of turning it into the new is the thing that takes a long time. But because underneath it just sort of pop songs really, but then what the stuff I add on top. I mean, it is still pop, but it's that sort of the sound that sort of people know as the new is a thing that does take quite a while sometimes. Just sort of figuring out what sounds should go where after the song is finished. That's sort of the most the longest part of the process. And then when it gets to the point of mixing, it sort of depends on how. Best way to describe it. I sort of I procrastinate a lot when I'm mixing because I'm just I don't find it as fun. I just sort of feel I have to do it.
Yeah.
It's sort of the song comes quickly, and then all of the stuff takes a while, and then the mixing is just how determined I am at the time to get it done.
Is there any particular kind of way that you bring out your best work in a sense? Does your best work come when you're kind of sat there really working on it for a long period of time, or is it when you kind of have those kind of 15-minute writing sessions and it's just all there in one?
I think there's sometimes I'm writing because I just want to write something, or sometimes I'm writing to sort of make myself feel happy. But the times I'm genuinely inspired by something and it comes out that's when it comes out really quickly, and that's when I sort of get. That's when I sort of feel most excited and most alive by the whole process. I think it's the best example of this is something that's coming up in the future. I don't know how much I can say about it, but there's something else coming up, and then that one very much in the moment. I get really inspired by Netflix documentaries. I literally watched one. Have you seen The Social Dilemma?
Yeah, I watched it the other day.
I literally watched that, and I was what? I was writing loads of stuff about it and stuff. I really get it. That's the kind of stuff where I feel most sort of this is insane. Writing wise, it's that genuine inspiration that comes straight away. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell that a lot of your work comes from when you're happy or excited, because it really comes across, in my opinion. We were just before we started recording, we were kind of talking about this new track.
I do love the way that he drops all the songs at the end.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I put in the review of the Ladama one. He just makes songs that make you feel alive and make you want to drive through a city at night.
Yeah, definitely.
Perks being a wallflower,
tour songs kind of thing. And a lot of your tracks, it's kind of something that you'd picture in I don't know, like an indie coming of age movie, and like that moment where like you're driving through the city at night and all the lights are
It's
like
drop at the end.
yeah, it's there's always like a build up and a drop at the end, and it just like you can just imagine it live, just having the best time of your life.
Oh yeah, I'd love that. Sort of like, I don't know, it's sort of like, yeah, like they've had this amazing moment and now he's like putting his head out the window for some reason whilst the cars are like this. Yeah, I'm picturing that. That sounds amazing. I take a lot of influence from film and like a lot of influence from I take a lot of influence from bands that I love to see live, like for the production and stuff like that. Like at quite a young age, I was lucky enough to see a lot of that. Like basically, like this all started like when I was 12 years old. Basically, my sister took me to Glastonbury because like 12 and unders go free. Something to remember if you ever have kids, which I'm definitely
remembering that.
So like took me there, and like from then I know I've always just had this like hunger for like music that sounds like massive and like could be heard in like those big spaces. So like I do think that like that whole sort of like energetic sort of like big in your face sort of like style of music definitely like influences the music I made with the new. I want it to be sort of like punchy and sort of like new, I guess. But yeah,
I mean it's cool because for a solo artist your music is definitely quite big. Like,
thanks.
Even though like you obviously have your kind of session musicians that perform live with you, it is just you that just records it when you're making a song, isn't it? It does definitely feel like it could fill an arena in a sense. I don't know, it's the only way I can describe it. You know, you can just imagine like the utilitarian, whatever it's called. I can't. You know the one by the one in town, the Birmingham Arena. It's constantly changing its name.
The ICC. I know.
Yeah, the one by the ICC. Yeah, I can just imagine being stood in there with like every single seat packed, and like as you said, it's the build up and the drop at the end, and the entire crowd just going like.
I remember what was it? I think last time we interviewed you said something about being like if the Killers went EDM.
Yeah, if the Killers went to Ibiza on holiday, that's like my thing.
That is literally the vibe that it just captures. Like honestly,
like it hits the nail on the head.
Thanks, man. No, I really like. Yeah, I like. That's. I'd love to do stuff like that. Like one day, I'd like. Yeah, I always find like the bigger the stages, the more we sort of like come into our element. Like we did this thing for Birmingham. Well, this Russian music festival actually, called the Euro Music at Birmingham Streams, like a new venue. It will be out by the time this comes out, so please check that out. But it was like it was like a big stage, and like it's been a while since we played in like a stage that's not like the Dark Horse. No offense to Dark Horse, love the Dark Horse, but like it's just not as big size-wise. But then we're like actually having the space to sort of like hear like the sort of I don't know, I guess the sort of like more of like what the production would sound like if it was actually played in those rooms, like those size rooms. Is like it always sort of like makes us come into our element a bit more. Question. I kind of forgot.
I mean, it's not really a question anymore. We're just having a chat about your music.
Yeah. I always feel like I get in interviews. I feel like I go on and then like, shit, where do I start with this? So I don't swear.
Me and you, both, honestly. But yeah, like One Life, we think the Different Skin is going to resonate with the audience a lot because it does kind of seem like a deeper track, but kind of as you want it to in a happy and more hopeful way. Is this something that you aim to kind of portray a lot with your audience, and is this something that you want everyone to kind of feel a lot with your music?
Yeah, I sort of like I want people to feel hopeful when they listen to the new, like sort of like I think Johnny, shout out him again, he described it once as desperate optimism, and I think that's the kind of thing I want to get across to people. And like I do like to write songs that are sort of like aware of their surroundings. Like sometimes I don't. I do love writing like pop songs about like sort of more commercial things like like relationships and stuff like that. But yeah, I really like the idea of the song sort of being like socially aware and like culturally aware in their lyricism. I get inspired a lot by idols because they're just like all their lyrics are like exactly what I'm like people like exactly what I'm thinking most of the time, and it's sort of like I like that feeling of like it's not just like about heartbreak that you can resonate with people as well. There's all these other things people are noticing now more than ever. And yeah, I'd like the need to sort of like bring a bit of hope in that whole situation with everything. Like it's saying like I'm aware of the problem. Here's something to make you feel better about it. Kind of what I want to say with it, really.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice because, like taking idols for example, she just mentioned them. I feel as though they're putting music out in a great way, but I feel like their music's, when you hear it on the surface and you don't listen to the lyrics, it's a lot more quote unquote angry in a sense because they are more of like a punk band, and it's kind of like nice to have artists like you who do have that kind of more upbeat feel to the music, because I feel as though it brings in a different audience to that kind of feel. It definitely kind of brings together the same concept, but in different ways to different people.
Yeah, they do their thing of like anger and intelligence like really well, and they're sort of like there's so many different ways you can come at the problems of the world, and like they do it in one way amazingly, and I'm trying to do it in a different way to them, but almost achieve the same thing of like just like almost educating, I guess. Like that's like I think that's one thing that like a lot of us people have learned a lot. Or I've learned as an artist in the past like 2 years is like it's kind of like it sucks to say because it shouldn't be, but it's kind of our job to educate people more than a lot of other people now. Like politicians don't really educate anymore. They're not seen as inspiring anyway, apart from Jezza Corbyn. Like whatever his like highs and lows were, the man inspired like a generation of people.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's our job as artists now to inspire and like think and educate people to think differently as well as think differently ourselves and approach problems in different ways. That which artists do in such a great way, like the way they get their message across. It's sort of like it's more of a desperate optimism, but like angrier, which is like resonating with a lot of people right now.
I feel like musicians as well are the only kind of industry that do really educate people in the most raw way, because they don't have to filter themselves, because it's just them. It's like if someone tells you can't say that, like so what? Because half the people that bring out the music that they do are told, oh, you can't say that, you can't talk about this in that manner, and they're like, I don't care, it's my music, I'm putting it out, this is what I need to do. And that's what I kind of love when artists like Idols and obviously what you're doing and other bands like the Novus and stuff like that are like bringing out stuff like this that is just kind of saying, I don't care what other people think, I'm saying this and this is my opinion, you can say what you want. And it's great to see that.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, Novus do it amazing as well, and like it's sort of like I think maybe it's one of the reasons why Rishi wants us all to like die and shit. Is he's sort of like realise that we're
something a little fishy up there. Something a little fishy.
Yeah, I just get the feeling that like we are like the biggest. We can like the arts is like the biggest sort of like educational opposition to what they want, because they sort of like basically say everything that's wrong with the way their education system is, and like that, so many other things, and like I think more than ever. Like, if they're trying to do this to us, that only means they're scared of like what the arts can really achieve. I think anyway. I think there's definitely a worry there. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. They wouldn't pay any attention to it. Like, but they know how powerful the arts are, especially in this country, and they know how much of an influencer it is. So I think at this point, everyone should carry on what they're doing as much as they can, even more so than possible.
Yeah.
And like. Or play the long game with it, and like in like 4 years' time, I don't know how long left. Like there will be a time where this government is very much over, and like something new will come. And I don't think, and I think now is the time for us to do what the arts always does, and basically tell people how it is unfiltered.
How do you think this whole situation is going to turn out in the long run with the whole kind of government situation with the music industry? Because obviously it's kicking up all over social media at the moment.
Honestly, like I'm very much worried about, like I said to my housemates the other day, I was like, guys, it's going to be like a revolution or something. Because it's like, I don't know, it's just sort of, it's getting more and more to the point where it's like, it's becoming so like, it feels so like dictatorial. Is the right word? Yeah, and I don't think that this thing is going to end in shaking hands, with the government at the moment, unless the government massively turn around. It's sort of like so the government are going more this way, like the people are getting more annoyed with it and they're going that way, but they're sort of like relying on each other, and there's going to come a point where other people just sort of like run back and like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and that's when things are going to go badly wrong and things are going to hit the fan. Like, there's so many protests all the time now about so many different things going on. Like, that's only going to get worse if the government trying to press people more and more and more. And it's sort of like, the thing is, in the end of the day, they are actually outnumbered if it does get to that point. So it's sort of like, it's very worrying. And I do think it's going to end. I don't think it's anything that's going to last forever. And I do think, if anything, I think it's going to end quite quickly when it does. But like, I don't see it just sort of being like, yeah, sure, you just do what you want. It's not going to be like, I don't think it's going to be peaceful. I hope it is, though. I really hope it is. I really hope like it gets resolved in a mature way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not that hopeful. I'm not that positive that it's going to be a very peaceful way things are going to end. I don't know.
I think
in 2 months' time, I might be feeling different. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I think this generation are just kind of sick of what the government are doing at the moment, because it's just been so much over the past, like, not even year, over the past few months. They've done so much that everyone's like, seriously, another thing for us to like get pissed about, another thing. And as you said, like, it's just going to be one of the situations where everyone's just going to be like, oh, nah, screw this, and go like first into the deep end.
It's like with anything, like with anyone really. If you provoke people in these different ways to a point, there's gonna be a breaking point. Like, we're not robots. We won't just like get given orders and do it without question. Like, that's not how humans are designed.
I think that's what the government expect us to do, though. I think that's what they're expecting everyone.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like there definitely is a lot, sort of like a sense of there's there's a mass control vibe going on with the government at the moment, like a really bad vibe of that. And I think I don't know, time will only tell. Like, I do think it's going to end. I think whatever happens is going to be like a very, very like rough, hectic thing that will happen. But I don't like. Yeah, I can't see this whole thing going on for forever of just like constant like rules and stuff like that. Like, it's anything like, if anything, all these different rules and like going back to themselves will make people care less about coronavirus, because it's like, well, people just think the government have no credibility anymore. Like, why would they believe them? And like, they've got this like mandatory vaccine coming out, but then supposedly Donald Trump and Boris Johnson were fine and they didn't have one. So it's sort of like, there's another thing that people are just like, well, why are you giving it to us then? It's all this like hypocrisy and stuff. I think, I think it'd be just jokes of like a lot of people just sort of like decided they're like, no, we're just not going to listen to them anymore until they sort themselves out, and just sort of like let the government do their thing, just sort of like get it out of the system, and then in like 6 months' time, they're like, yeah, we're back to normal now. That'll be my ideal ending. Just to be like, just to say a bunch of things and everyone be like, yeah. That's what I hope about. But I don't know. Who knows really? Who knows?
We're just parents to the government, really. We're all the government's parents.
True. Parents are the government. I don't know. I hope we get this sorted in a nice way. I don't want anything. I don't want any harm to come. I'm not like, kill them all. Like, I don't want them to die. I just want to change. Like, that's my opinion on it.
Yeah. So I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Are there any final points you want to put out there about anything we've spoke about today, about your new track, anything else? I don't know. Is there anything else you want to let everyone know?
I guess I just like, I want the song to be seen as like a sort of like accepting both sides of the argument and just like hoping everyone that realises there is a problem. Like, the whole "we're all different skin under the same sun" is meant to be like but all lives matter, like sort of like example. And then, but some of us running out of places to run this sort of like idea of like, we get that all lives should matter, but right now they don't. that's like the whole idea behind it. I really hope that message isn't like construed as like I become part of the All Lives Matter movement. That's like the exact opposite of what the song is about. Yeah, that's the one thing I just like really hope people would understand with it really. And I can't wait to play it like in an actual like mosh pit, sweaty filled room.
Have you got any gigs
really
coming up, or like socially distanced gigs coming up?
We actually we just did two sold out ones at
it was
Dark
at the
Horse.
Dark Horse with the Dharma, weren't it?
Yeah, they were amazing. It was so good to be back. Our next one is Swim Deep at the end of the year. That's not social distance, but I imagine it will become social distance. I'm not too sure.
Isn't it?
Sorry?
Is it sold out? It is, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't actually know. I haven't checked it in ages, to be fair. I don't think it is sold out, you know.
Because I think it's sold out. Because where is it? It's like a smaller venue for like Swim Deep.
That Amaroo's. Oh, it probably will be.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because like I think it sold out really quick, so I was gonna get a ticket, and I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. No, that's definitely like if that gets to go ahead, that should be the perfect one. I've got Swim Deep for a long time. I jumped out of my seat. I was in bed. I was just in bed one day, and like we got put forward for it, and I was sort of aware of it. And then I was like, but I was sort of in my head like you get put forward for these things a lot. Like I never really had one of them like that come through.
Yeah.
And then Tom Holloway just messaged me like, yeah, we confirmed you. Can we announce in like 4 hours? I was like, bro, like jumped out my seat, like ran and told my mum, and she was like, Swim Deep, and she doesn't know, like she doesn't listen to a lot of bands. And I was like, they're like amazing. They're like it's a massive band. And then she was like, oh, that's great. And then. Yeah, I was like, oh, you can get tickets. And she was like, yeah, we'll see. And I'm just like, just Swim Deep. But yeah, that's gonna be.
That is like amazing. A big deal though. Like they are some of the OGs, of the B-Town scene.
I've loved it so long, man. I literally I put it in my group chat because we went to see him live in like 2014 at Reading, and then I've seen him. All my mates seen him loads of times, and. So yeah, it was cool. It was like a bit of a coming of age thing. Yeah, that's basically it really. I can't think of anything else. I was going to say big shout out to Jacob. Yeah, he couldn't be here because I'll be honest. I kind of forgot to mention. I mentioned him the other day that I was going to do some interviews and stuff, but I kind of forgot to tell him the date for this one. So, but we've got more coming up where we're both doing it together.
We're always going to be pumping out content, so if he wants to work with us, he can get in contact, or we'll get in contact with him and stuff, and sort something out with him in the future. So
definitely, he's got a band called Jacob and the Moons. They are wicked. They're like about to do some releases and stuff. I don't want to give away what they're doing, but they've got some exciting stuff planned like for next year. So check them out.
So is there anything that you want to mention that you've got coming out in the future? Or where can people find you on social media, find your new track that will be out on November 23rd? So, yeah.
I do have some stuff coming up in the future. As you've probably seen, I'm talking now because this will have come out now. As you've seen, like, social media, everything's been updated with a new style, so that's sort of a hint of. And there's something in the social media that is a hint to the next release.
Okay.
So yeah, figure that out. Anyone that does gets a free T-shirt when I eventually buy them. So Instagram at the new official, that's like any Facebook at We Are the New, and Twitter's also We Are the New. The song's available like Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, SoundCloud. Music videos are going to be coming out in weeks afterwards as well.